Hey everybody, and welcome to another Binary Ninja live stream. I am Jordan, and I think if we do this right, yay! We've got Kyle
Hello.
joining us this week. Hey Kyle, good to see you again.
Nice to be here.
Welcome back to the stream. So I kind of want to just switch to you first so we can chat for a little bit and catch up, but I do have a couple of announcements. So no, I made it out of the Tesla. Adrian asked in chat if I'm doing the stream from the Tesla. I got out after only like 5 minutes. For those of you who didn't see it, I tweeted that I got stuck in my car. I literally got stuck in my car. Like it just wouldn't open. It was like off, wouldn't open. Had to use like the manual release. Anyway, all's well and as well. So far, it's drivable and just tells me my 12-volt battery is shot, so it's going to go in for service. Um, but the first announcement is congratulations to nopnopgoose on the Slack, who on the Binary Ninja Slack, who successfully answered the prize that I've been reminding people about each week. The let's see. Oh no, I lost their exact message. I was going to pull it up. I don't even remember the exact track. Was it Life Force? The hint I gave was if you look on Pouet, Pouet, which is the demo scene website, the intro music and the outro music, they actually come from the same track, and they are from. Let's see. Let me look. Was it Life Force? It's one of my favorite demo scene demos. I think it was Life Force. I have to double check. Anyways, it was from there, and nopnopgoose said like, yeah, it was a good excuse to literally just like put playlists of demo scenes in the background while doing work until like, oh, you hear the sound that came from the intro and outro. So, yep, I actually got in touch with the author of that song back a couple 4 years ago, I guess, at this point, and we swapped a Binary Ninja license for can I use your a couple seconds of audio for our intro and outro. So that's where that came from. Congrats to nopnopgoose, who will be getting another Bingy. So there will be another Bingy in the mail for that one. Other than that, I think we are going to spend most of our time this episode. Kyle and I are going to be talking about some new APIs that landed, and then we're going to, I think, write a plugin together. We'll see. I've already kind of prototyped some of it, but Kyle built the APIs, and I just had an idea for what we want to do with it. So that's the plan. Hey, Joe, do you want to say hi?
No.
No? Okay, she does that. I was going to put the camera on her. Thank you. Just bring in my caffeine. So yeah, I think that's the plan. Sound good, Kyle, to you? I talked for a while.
Yeah, sounds good.
Wait
I
until
finally
you're
got
drinking too.
right. Yeah, thanks for
Yeah.
finally got the folder compressing for you.
Oh yeah. Well, let's pretend this was ready. This was ready hours in advance. Clearly, we are well prepared and not doing this on the fly here. But so I guess first, why don't you just explain the API that you built and the kind of like what's behind it, and then we'll show it off and we'll start kind of building a plugin. I'll explain why I want it, what I want to do with it, and we can kind of go from there. Because you've already talked about it a little bit, right? Like on stream when you showed off the dwarf stuff. I think it was 2 weeks ago or whenever you last were on.
Yeah, we talked about the Rust side a bit more. This is the C and Python side, since I've fleshed out and nailed down those APIs a bit more. It's debug info. The idea here is before analysis starts, even before your binary view is finalized, you can parse dwarf info or Windows PDB stuff or things inside Go files that we don't deal with.
You ruined my thunder. Yeah.
And you can extract types, functions, data variables, all sorts of stuff, and apply that to the binary view so you don't have to waste time running linear sweep or deducing types, adding your own types, and all the benefits you get from debugging.
So just a real high level summary for people who may not be familiar. Binary Ninja, when it first opens up a binary, it's like an L format, like any file format that it has information about the structure and it kind of knows where the code is. It opens it up. It finds things like exports or the entry point or exception handling table, anything that was records of like pointers are here. We know there's code and functions here, and it creates functions at all those locations. And then it goes and scans them all. And those functions will call other functions, or they'll have control flow that goes off, and so and that's recursive descent is the term, right? For like start at a couple of these known places, and then just go analyze everything else. we say linear sweep. It's not linear sweep. The original definition of linear sweep is actually you literally just start disassembling in order a binary, and you don't follow control flow at all. You just instruction after instruction, which to some degree can work fine for aligned architectures like not x86. If you just want to get a disassembly, but it still doesn't give you any sense of where functions are at. Like, what is a function start? Like, maybe you have a common prologue, maybe you don't. Compilers will omit them sometimes for some internal functions. So that just gets you like a dead listing of disassembly. So when we say linear sweep, what we really mean is we are going to take all the places where we don't currently have functions, but we think there might be code. And there's a variety of heuristics and things that basically happen. There's actually a good blog post that Brian worked on. It's actually getting kind of old now. We really need to update it because there's been a lot of changes to the algorithm, and that will change the accuracy of the analysis for the better. And so we should actually update that. But we have generally really good linear sweep, and so it will go and make functions, and then it even has the ability to look at it, make a function, say, actually no, I think that's not really a function. That's because the instructions look like garbage, or because the control flow doesn't match the rest of it. I can even do other things like, well, I've already got these 50 functions that are no real functions. Can I match those function prologues to like starts of other functions and find those that way? So there's a bunch of other stuff. Thanks, Bart. Appreciate the feedback. So when I say linear sweep, I don't actually mean what a lot of people would mean by linear sweep. We just mean our function finder, right? Like our linear sweep of, it is a linear sweep of the binary to find function starts, but it's more like a semi-intelligent, it's not semi, it's fairly intelligent function identification thing to like find out where the actual function starts. So all that to say, it's very, very good, but it is not perfect. And it's way better if you know for a fact where all the functions are, which you do in some file formats, right? You got debug symbols, or there's certain like exception handling tables and like firmware and stuff sometimes where you know where a bunch of functions are, or you've got things like actually like a control flow guard, and a lot of these code protection implementations will just be like, here's all your functions, they're all right here. And it makes analysis a lot easier, because just finding all the functions is really hard. So I forget if I've covered this on stream before, so apologies if it's duplicated for some of you, but I like to assume or not assume too much about no, this is not the 29th. Did I have the wrong? Oh, you know what? You're right. I forgot to edit the title of the stream. I think I can fix that live on stream. Good catch. I mean, what are you talking about? It definitely says February 5th in the title of the stream. Totally has said that from the whole time. Yeah. Usually, well, and actually, you know what? I bet does it have the wrong timestamps too? Oh no, at least it doesn't have that in the description. Okay. All right, Kyle, you stay there? You froze.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, good. Oh no, I was looking at the lag video too. I get it like wrong places to look. Okay, so anyway, so that's like the explanation of live streaming. Yeah, the reason the date is wrong is because I just click go live and it reuses the old settings by default, and if I forget to manually go and edit it, it just uses the old title. So thanks for catching that. And then yeah, after the fact, if you catch the old streams, I'll go through and I'll put timestamps for all the sections where we talk about different stuff, which is nice if you don't want to just sit and catch the whole stream. Okay, so we have our linear sweep. It's great, but it's a little slower than normal, right? Because you're creating functions, you're removing them, you've got to kind of analyze them, do a section analysis to see if they work. And so for what it is, and amongst the other RE tools out there, I think it's fantastic, but it's always better if you have actual function starts. And so that's where the debug info API comes from, right, Kyle? So you're able to say, no, before any analysis happens, like these are all the actual functions. And you used it for Dwarf in your first implementation, right? So that's what your sort of first test case for it was.
Yeah. The end goal is to be able to use this for Dwarf, but I think we might actually publish the API before the Dwarf plugin is finished.
Yeah, and this is just like this is not published. You can't actually use this yet in dev because it's still very, very early. There's still some rough edges. I think you changed the API this morning, right? Like you added, you changed some stuff out on it, so the things are a little bit different.
Types work as of today.
Yeah, so we're still adding things, and you'll still need some more testing. But I kind of want to get people like thinking about it and the similarities of it. Also, Fox mentions that they picked up Binja recently and looking for something to try it out on. Yeah, like grab a CTF or get some fun game you wanna RE or something like that. It helps. You have to like to have something to do it on. So for sure. And on that note, something I've been playing a little bit with obfuscated Go malware lately. So Jamie H in the Binja Slack and I collaborated a little bit on. He was working on a plugin that did deobfuscation of gobfuscate, which is a Go compiler obfuscation thing, which like does runtime XOR encryption of strings. And so he built a whole like IL emulator, and there's a blog post on that with more details. So I've been looking at all the different. There's actually a couple of Go deobfuscation plugins in the Binja plugin manager right now. One was actually written. I kind of even missed it several years ago, and just needed some small updates to get in the plugin manager, and it's now in the plugin manager as well. And then there's another more recent ones, and the way Go malware or the way the Go compiler works is there's tons of like debug information. Even when you've like stripped a binary, you have all the functions, you have all of the names of the internal libraries and the types, and you kind of can't change them because of the way the compiler works. I don't know the details super well, but the idea is that because the runtime actually uses that type information, like you can't just like remove it. It has to kind of be there. So there's ways that people are obfuscating it or changing the headers so the standard parsing tools don't work and stuff like that. But you can recover them most of the time. And so when Kyle was talking about his debug info API, I was really excited because I was like, oh, I want to build another one of these Go plugins, except we'll do it using this API so we can pull that information before we even have to run linear sweep. And then we basically don't need to run linear sweep because we know where all the functions are. It's not entirely true. There may be some functions you miss, so maybe you kind of do want to do it. But even if you do, you're only doing it on the little bit that was left over afterwards. So if oh man, they had a Golang binary, but they didn't even obfuscate it. I mean, it even not obfuscated, it can be useful. So the long term goal for like this plugin would be to load the symbol information and the type information. But so even if it's not obfuscated, they still the symbols don't always load because they're not like ELF symbols. They're in like the special Go PCLN tab, which comes from Plan 9, which I just learned recently, which is kind of an interesting thing. So, oh yeah, so the secret, Josh, is that, sorry I missed you earlier, that we've got debug info API. So given that, let's switch over, and I think we're gonna lose Kyle's face, unfortunately. Oh, hold on, I can add Kyle's face, and if y'all wanna put him on stream too, probably. But what am I doing? All right, so there was Poet. All right, so let us, and then at the time, depending on how much time we have, if folks are still hanging around at the end of the stream, we'll go over like other changes this week in Binja. So let's go. Here's our latest updated dev build of Binja, but we need a test build. So let me see if I've got that from Kyle.
Yeah, it should upload it and should have.
And yeah, we'll throw that into my VM. 3 files, stream. Nope, stream. Thank you. And we'll drag this one in. Yeah, I need to like get better at like the clickbaity titles. It's a secret new API. I mean, it's not secret. If y'all are watching the commit messages, you could have seen it coming. Another good example of where this might be really, really useful that I know a couple of folks might be interested in. If you're implementing stuff like a iOS kernel cache analysis or whatchamacallit, it's the blob library, the giant, just the shared cache, I guess it's called, right? Kyle, what am I thinking of?
Shared objects.
Well, but like on iOS, it's a giant. Someone will correct me. Yeah, dilid shared cache. Thanks, Brinley. So like where you have a bunch of stuff that you really would like to, you have like exports essentially and everything, so you know where all the functions are. But maybe like whether or not Binja parses them, like you might be able to use this API as well for some of those type of problems. So I think that's also interesting. So,
and I do want to note, you could have done this before by writing your own view and parsing it that way. But then you would have needed to re-implement it. You would have needed to re-implement elf views and Mako and all that within your binary view, and then add your debug info extractor. These debug info extractors will work on any existing binary view, even custom ones.
That's
So
a very, very good point, right? The idea is that if you know how to parse debug symbols, you can apply them to everything else. Yep, exactly. So this is for you, Brinley. I wasn't gonna call you out by name, but I thought you would appreciate this. So, and you're not the only one. There's definitely some other folks that will have similar problems. So, out binary ninja test. I think if I do this. So let me quit this before I forget and get confused as to which one's which, and we'll see if it wah wah wah. Did you see that, Kyle? The short.
I just saw your home screen for a second.
So the short summary is. Let me show up a stream. It doesn't want it. So your build doesn't want to run arrowable loading shared libraries. Libbinary cannot open shared object. No such file directly. Oh, hold on. UI. libqt5 GUI, which is positioning by core. Where?
Oh yeah, your linker path is all different than mine.
I might be able to grab. Well, let me see. Let me see if I can grab the test build with the. This might work too. So if this fails, I'll have to just build it live.
I can share my screen and we can do it that way.
Yeah, if you wanna code it up too. Let me try one thing real quick. So there is. So there are the build artifacts. It says the build fail, but I think that was unit test because of the. It was documentation. We shouldn't need that. This might work. All right, let's try this. If this doesn't work, we'll go to plan B. So let's nuke this. And oops, no, don't open. I really don't want to do that. And if we get crash dumps, y'all will see full symbols because this is a one with symbols on it. All right, see stream.
I didn't know that about embedded binaries. That's interesting.
Oh, that's not right. That's not going to help. Yeah, it's not, it didn't put a full build together. That's just the raw files. Yeah, it's not worth trying to hack that up together. So we're either going to go to B or C, and either we'll stream from your desktop, or I can get a build going here in my VM. So let's try yours first and see how that goes.
All right. So Slack.
Well, Slack what?
I just had to close Slack.
Oh yeah. Well, let me give you. You can close anything. I'll give you a second to clean up your desktop. Brinley, you're anything that you've got like any other kind of symbol file for, but it's still fundamentally like an ELF or any other kind of. I mean, you could even do it on like PE files. Anything that we have an existing binary view for, or even someone else has a different binary view for, you can use the debug info API. So, I mean, I can. Where'd it go? So I think it didn't run, but I should be able to still. Wait, why is there? Oh, that's the examples being built. That's right. It's bin folders. Okay, so. Right, so we actually have this whole new debug info class. So let me just pull that up real quick. Actually, you know what? We can pull this. This is on the test branch, which is public. So let's do it that way. And so this is another good little trick. Yeah, yeah, Binja does have a free BSD platform. I mean, it's since launch actually. It's got a decree one too, which is for the Cyber Grand Challenge Linux like thing that had different syscalls. Plat. Where'd it go? So there's doesn't have decree. Oh yeah, there's decree x86, and it's got FreeBSD support. I don't know when the last time I actually used it was. I couldn't even tell you. Oops, wrong window. All right, so this is a good hint about like if you want to track what features are coming. You can either in the public binary Ninja Slack, you can join the GitHub channel, or if you're just watching all the branches on a repository, as we implement, in fact, we need to clean these up. There's a lot of old ones. But as we are working on sort of new features, because the API itself is fully open sourced, even if the core isn't, and we've got like builds in the core, we have new APIs that are not released, because we have to plummet through the API anyways, you'll still see what's coming. So it's a nice way to get a little sneak peek of stuff that hasn't actually dropped yet. So like for example, you can see Kyle's commits here on the API side. And in this case, I'm just going to go look straight at the Python for the debug info APIs. And we'll pull them up there.
Fully type hinted.
And new type hints, yeah. Yeah, these are the first APIs that were, like, the plan is to have more. But, all right, so you are now streaming or sharing your screen?
It should be, yeah.
All right, let's switch over and see.
Probably need to make that bigger. See how the 4K scaling goes.
Let's see. I'm going to adjust my stuff a little bit here. There we go, close enough. Cool.
All right.
So really, it was more useful like 8 years ago in CTF. That's the other reason that exists. All right, so say again.
This is visible for those of you at home.
Oh, I think it could be larger because it's not totally full screen on my side. Let me see. Actually, hold on. Let me pin it and change my layout. Yeah, we just get rid of all of our videos for everybody. It'll turn off my face. All right. And I think I still can't figure out how to turn off the little. I can't make the toolbar at the bottom go away when viewing full screen sharing. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's visible for me, but okay, that's better. Adrian says, yeah, that works. In the meantime, I want to try to, and now I have to like turn so I can still keep the mic in range, but first world problems. All right, so we've got, oh, so if we want to do this the way that I was prototyping it, we can do this with the Pygore library.
Let's start from a fresh template then.
Yeah,
well, that's a pretty good template.
I mean that's fine. You can, yeah. So you want to pip3 install Pygore, and so for
I already have it.
Oh, there you go, nice. Oh, that's right, because you were testing my prototype. So for context, oh, we did have a little bit of your Slack there. I thought you closed it.
I needed the reference.
Yeah, that's fair. So for context, Pygore is from the go-re project, which has some nice go-re.tk there are several different tools that they have. The only thing we have to be a little careful of is this is a Pharaoh GPL 3, and because we are also the developers of Binary Ninja, which is not open sourced, if we release this plugin as is, um, I think I want to make sure that we don't have to actually release Binary Ninja source. So I'm clarifying with the author. We will MIT our plugin itself, but I just want to make sure that we're not running afoul of any kind of licensing issues here. Make sure we're following the author's intent. So we probably won't release this until then. But there is a separate command line version of it called redress, which we can just shell out to, which if we need to, we can rewrite using that, which would be less efficient, but would avoid the linking clause. Because I mean, like Python's a little weird, right? Because every import is essentially a link, even though you're never really actually compiling. So, all right, yeah. So why don't you walk through what you got in the template so far?
All right. So the debug info plugins are really simple. You have a isValid and parseInfo function. You register the plugin with the name and those two functions. Your isValid is passed the binary view, which you do whatever magic you need to do to make sure that your parser will work on the file you're going to be given. And then when Binary Ninja is ready to ask you to parse it, it gives you the binary view again to parse, as well as a new debug info object. The one little promise you're making, or it doesn't have to be a promise, but you should not be editing the binary view in these plugins. You should be adding things to the debug info so our analysis can use it to shortcut other avenues of analysis later on.
Now, is that because the binary view there's like multi-threading and other stuff potentially going on at the same time, or just because the analysis assumes that state, or like why does it have that property?
If you add things to the debug info object, people can query the binary view for the debug info and see what was added by the debug info explicitly. If you were just adding to the binary view, it would be the same as doing a binary view finalization callback.
Oh yeah, and that we don't want to do because we're not done. We plan to hand this back to Binary Ninja, and say, please continue your analysis. I've made some functions for you. It will continue what it's doing, and then finish off analysis.
Right, and there's not many smart things right now, but we're going to be shortcutting a lot of linear sweep, if not all of linear sweep. There's probably some type propagation changes we'll make, which will rely on type info being in the debug info, and stuff like that.
So another useful reason why this API is super nice, and this is when I got this test working late last night, it made it really clean, is it's worth pointing out, Binary Ninja has user APIs and auto APIs, and you'll see those words used in the API names a lot of the time. And the sort of one of the key distinctions is that a user change is something that happened after you sort of opened and were done analyzing a binary, right? So user came along and named a function, added a type, added a comment, whatever changes your analysis. Now, that could have been a plugin that the user ran that called the user APIs, because that plugin still happened after the binary view was loaded. Auto APIs are the ones that are intended for like during the initial sort of auto load. That means like it's a binary view, right? It's going to load up an ELF. It's going to create the entry points. It's going to do all this parsing. It does that every single time. And so you don't have to like serialize and save those changes out when you save your database, because it's the same auto analysis can happen when you open the binary view, or excuse me, the BNDB. And so the advantage of a view like this is, the current Golang plugins, for example. And so, yeah, again, we're going to do this for Golang. The current ones all happen after the fact, and then happen as user changes, and then you can save your BNDB. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's totally fine. But it is just kind of nice and clean to be able to like have this just always open. It's just like Binary Ninja's first class support for Go is essentially what we're doing. We're giving it the ability to just handle these Go debug information from the beginning for every file that we open. So I guess let's look at is valid. And by the way, I slacked you a file called malware.exe with an underscore on it. You're on Linux, I'm on Mac, so we should be okay. Presuming it is indeed go malware.exe. And this actually came from one of our users in Slack the other day who was asking a question about one of the, I forget which Golang plugin in our repository did handle it and one didn't, I think. And so he had the sample and was asking for some help with it. And so it was another thing that kind of got me going on this topic. So you can open that up as like a test, and we can use that to start our stuff. But the where'd it go? And I also want to pull up my cheat sheet of whatever I was working on last night. I know that like sometimes it's nice to see us flail and fail, and it definitely would have been some of that working with new APIs. But in this case, I really wanted to see this work last night, so I built it in advance a little bit. So for like is valid, once you've got your file loaded in.
Yeah, so this looks awful right now.
Yes, giant statically compiled Go runtime, and all you get are some imports. Like ta-da!
Oh, I'm also on disassembly.
It looks like you have an old build of Binja. Is that the right build? You're getting a no attribute debug info in your error log.
This is dev right now. I'll launch the build once we have the plugin.
Okay. Yeah, so there's a lot of, and this takes a little while for the analysis to finish too. But it would be nice if we had symbols that we know are actually in the file. So actually, I mean, if you use the plugin manager and search for Go, you can
Go loader assist.
It's either that one or Golang name something, I forget. Golang helper, I forget what the other one's called.
Golang symbol restore.
Yes, it's all both of those. And so this is the sort of current state of the art. And again, this is not a criticism of these plugins. This is the way the API works currently. If you had something like this, you would just, after the binary was loaded, you would then add the extra debug information, and it would go and add all the symbols that you wanted. So if you trigger, like I said, one of them I think will work and one of them won't. And I just use the command palette and type Go, and you'll see which one works and which one doesn't. But like, analysis is still going. It's a big binary, and then after the fact, it's going to try and create functions and or name some of these functions. I can't actually see the command palette very well on the stream.
Oh, do we not do font scaling? I guess not. Huh?
Not on that one. I think Shushung's working on some of that.
I guess I need to restart.
It should be live unless there was an error in loading it. You might need. No, I don't think either one has dependencies. That's just your plugin, right? Yeah.
Yeah, those loaded. Yeah. So open malware again. Plugins. Yeah, here there. Auto rename functions. Rename f pointers past to new proc.
Oh, Josh fixed it told us the answer. The tab, because you had still same focus on that tab, the actions hadn't been bound yet. So if you close the tab and open a new tab, it would have worked, or restarting. So yeah, don't do the function one. Just do the add, or what were the two choices again?
Auto rename functions.
Yeah, that one. Do that one. Auto rename functions. So that'll go through, and we should see. Poof! Now we've got a list of all of the symbols in the left. So it's a lot easier to reverse engineer now.
Renaming 8,519 functions.
Yeah,
that is much nicer.
I think the other plugin actually has like a debug log too, and will show you as it names them all.
Now that also very likely kicked off reanalysis on pretty much.
It does. It absolutely does, and that's the other downside of this, right? Yeah, I think we might be getting some. Hangouts can you change your streaming video settings? I think you can force under video, you can force your send resolution to maximum instead of auto. See if that we're at 720p. Thank you, Fox, for mentioning that. Yeah, doing this over Meet is less than the other option.
It's only send at 720. I'll just change my resolution so we don't have to deal with weird.
Yeah, I don't know if that's gonna help or not. I think it's more bandwidth related and the streaming codec and stuff. But we can try it. See if it works.
This might be terrible.
Hey, you don't need a big font anymore.
I guess not.
Yeah, somebody says anything goes function names. Yeah, are great. Right, exactly. So I mean, I know I've noticed that a couple of the Golang plugins will specifically use like dots or hyphens because they want to avoid like characters that might cause problems with other tools. And I was like, no, like we should use. In fact, actually, if anybody here knows Go, well, I ironically I've never actually written Go. I've been playing with these plugins for a little bit, but I don't know what the sort of convention would be if you've got like a package name, like how you would see it. Bo knows Go. Man, but Bo Jackson references, that's you're showing your age there, Josh. So yeah, this is looking better for me. You could bring the font or zoom down a little bit, but that looks good. Elder millennial. Okay, boomer. Okay. I mean, I think I'm older than you, Josh, so I can't say anything, but so yeah, so like being able to actually have proper function names here is really useful, right? Like you can just have forward slashes, you can have whatever you want. And then another thing worth pointing out is that because the way that Binja's filtering works, like if you're in that if you're focused in the symbol list, you could start typing a package name and then hit space and then type a method name, and it will just do the smart filtering and go right to that method for you, which is kind of handy. So this is nice. Like this plugin works. It produces great results. These are both very useful plugins. I think there's like I've noticed a couple of binaries that work better with one plugin or another, and that usually has to do with how binaries, if they're obfuscating the Go PCLN tab section of the binary, how they work there. The other thing is that they don't all support like PE files with Go symbols, which is something else that would be nice to have. So there's a little bit of room for improvement, but you know, functionality wise, like they're very, very helpful and produce nice results. But this is what we want to recreate, like, right? So we want to do this, but we want to do this as a debug info API because that way it'll be like out of the gate perfect. We won't have to do reanalysis. We won't have to trigger linear sweep. It'll be all around better, I think. Yeah, this is looking much more readable, I feel like. Although I'm still trying to figure out how to get this full screen and not... Wait, I don't want to present. I want to turn... Change layout. Can I do spotlight? Let's try that. Pin to screen. Remove from meeting. No, I don't want to do that. All right, I fail. Google Meet, why are you not letting me?
It used to not show the bar.
Right? Like if you clicked, it would like go away.
Maybe they really want the branding.
Come on, Google, kill me.
Google definitely needs to advertise.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people have heard of them, so you know it makes sense.
Small indie dev.
All right, so let's go back to what we. So the first thing we want to do is valid, right? So we need to tell our debug info plugin that we can handle this particular file, and so just playing around with like the samples that I had, I found a couple of like indicators. One is if the .text section literally starts with the string ff space go space build ID, it is a Go binary. So that's like one nice way. So yeah, let's just throw some notes or put it in as valid either way. So we wanted like if there's a or if .text is in bv.sections.
We're gonna say contains here.
Yeah, or I just did if quote dot text quote in. That'll work because the way the getter works on the BV sections, um, and then we want to do so we're going to do a bv.read, and we're going to read the first 15 bytes of, so the start address is going to be bv.sections sub dot text. Yep. Dot start, right? So that's going to give us the start address. And yeah, exactly. If that, this is ugly code, but this is whatever. I was trying to go from fewest lines of code, and then the actual string is just going to be do a byte string, because read's going to give us a byte string back of \x_ff. I start with a -1 space, and then capital G go space build space ID. Yep, exactly. And then a colon, then a colon, and a space. Yeah, if you got the answer there.
Okay, let's just...
Yep, exactly, Josh. This is so that you can apply debug symbols before the rest of analysis kicks off. All right, so you can say, hey, Elf, I want to have a chance to see if I can give you better information before linear sweep goes. Or, and this is even what I really like about this. So, well, we'll get to that in a second. So yeah, if that is that, all right, so that's one possible. There's also another possible set of conditions, which is if it just contains go PCLN tab.
Oh, much less complicated.
Well, but it doesn't always work. Like, I've found binaries where only one of these works, and other ones where the other one does. So like, I have to have both these conditions in right now. Yeah, I don't. This is really bad logic the way I did this that you're reproducing. So I apologize in advance. Oh, Josh, that's a really good point. The PDB loader, I don't know how the PDB loader works currently versus how this would work, but that does seem like it makes sense. Kyle, have you done anything with the PDB loader? I don't know where that's inserted in analysis.
Yeah, no, the PDB loader should definitely be refactored to use this. This would also, I have to account for DWO files in the Dwarf plugin, so separate PDBs.
Oh, right, we do the same thing,
also,
right?
yeah.
Right, the exact same work file or workflow. Yeah, that's a good point. Oh, that's a little bit cleaner. I appreciate you making my making my vote.
Yeah, that should be good. And then yeah, this is just true.
Well, so yeah, we could do that for now. Although the one thing, and this is this was the thing I promised Brian. I had a surprise for him, and this is the thing that I was really excited about. And it may seem like a little thing, but I thought it was really cool. Brian has really done a bunch of amazing work with the setting system, and it's a really robust API. One of the things that you can do with it is you can say, hey, setting system, I want to set a setting, but only for this binary view, like just very much tied to this binary view. So it's not a global thing. And you can do this during the debug info, right? So if this is valid, if we've matched it, what we can do is we can actually set we can disable linear sweep, right? So even though linear sweep is on globally, even though by default the user setting can have it on, the binary view can actually say, no, I know more specifically to override this. So yeah, get the settings and then set its analysis dot linear sweep camel case dot auto run. You're missing a line sweep instead of linear sweep, and auto run is all lowercase, and it's a separate dot auto run. Yeah, almost. Yep. And that's a set bool instead of set string. Yep, Brian just said the same thing. Yep. So you're gonna set bool, and then you're gonna pass in false, right? Because we want it to not actually, and we're not quite done yet either, too.
Just kind of.
Oh, yeah. Copy my sample. Right. So we're gonna set this to false. We're gonna pass in for this particular binary view because we've already got it, and we're gonna set the scope. And that's the key thing. That scope is the settings resource scope. That says, oh, Isaac, you didn't get through my video. Go ahead, keep it. Maybe later. It's fine. I told my son he's allowed one trip through my office while I'm on stream. He didn't know the camera wasn't on. I need to tell him next time to check the feed so he knows that the camera's actually on. That's all right. Right. So I mean, I don't know. Maybe it was just me, but I just thought this was really clean. There's other things you could do here too, right? Like you actually change the analysis mode. Like I just temporarily was setting the analysis mode to basic just because I was opening some big like 8-9 megabyte files, and turning on basic analysis mode makes them like seconds versus minutes, which is really nice, just for like testing purposes. But yeah, so
Now, something like disabling linear sweep shouldn't be something you need to do when this is finished.
so
Hopefully.
I mean, I don't know. Like there may be times where you want it to happen afterwards by default, and I think it probably should. But like for a particular debug info to disable it seems maybe not unreasonable. I don't know. Right? Like a debug info might not have all the functions; it might only have some, and so maybe
Yeah.
maybe you still want to let it go. Like I don't think we should disable it. I just really liked the fact that the setting system is really has this really clean API where I can by default I can just set in query settings and not worry about it. But in this particular case, I can attach to this binary database or to this binary view. Like I don't want you to trigger linear sweep because I am going to tell you where all the functions are. So that's a
All right.
nice thing. Like I knew that was a feature, but I think this is the first time I've actually written code to use it, and I really liked it. So you want to see if this even works? See if our thing triggers on our files.
Oh no.
What's your tab stop?
Um. Oh, it's just lining it up to
Oh,
the.
yeah, it's alignment. Yeah.
More that you were using binary ninja, I used BN.
Oh, right.
All right.
Yeah, I did the same thing. I just had a habit kept typing binary ninja, and so you had your earlier template that had .bn or had bn dot, so I had to change it. But all right, so this is your test bill. So this has the debug info API on it, and I guess now's a good time to ask the question. Like I don't think we were gonna promise like when this will or we expect to land this on dev because there's still it still feels like there's like a I don't know some work left to be done. I don't know. What do you have a goal in mind, or do you not want to promise a timeline?
I'm hoping that the API will be in the next stable.
That's a good answer. I like that answer. Yeah,
But dwarf info might take a little longer.
I think that's fair. Yeah, getting the API done first.
Oh, I think my Ninja updated and killed my install, my local build.
But it has the debug info. No, you shouldn't get updates on a build. It should.
No, when I launched to the other Binja.
Oh yeah. If you had two in the yeah, it might have done that if you had an update pending. That could have done it.
I'll just take a second.
So and while you're doing that, actually, I was gonna go through and look at our list of changes for the week and see if there was anything fun to talk about. Did the new theme get landed? Was that this week or was that last week? Because actually I switched my theme.
Yeah, I noticed that. I think that was this week.
Yeah, so I'm gonna let me take back stream my desktop very briefly. And what was the new theme? The new theme was Nord. Yeah, Nord was the theme. And this is also a good point. Oh, Josh, I believe in Slack recently made a really good suggestion, which is create a lot of there's like several folders that are empty by default that you can put your files in, themes, types, platform info, like that you can put in your user folder. There we go. So I got my Nord, and that we should like when we create the user folder, we should just make all those empty folders just so people know that they're there. So I thought that was a great suggestion. So this is a little thing, but I thought this was a pretty clean theme. I think my only complaint with it was if you were in linear view and you scrolled to the, oh no, just in general, there's like a white bar the way that it worked. I don't know. For whatever reason, this one little like line, but it's kind of subtle. It's probably not the best for streaming, but I thought it was a soothing, pleasing set of colors. Let me see what else. And let me know, by the way, whenever you're ready to take back over. I was gonna look at the. Oh man, this is a bad idea though. I'm gonna ruin my my ability to do timestamps. I have to go find this section in the middle where he split out. So let's look for the issue. Oh, I know what else I was gonna do. You mentioned next stable. That's worth pointing out that we are planning 3 weeks, I guess, about now. You know, a little under 3 weeks, and still, as far as we know, on track for that. The biggest one that remains, I think, it's going to be this search enhancements. But we're pretty confident we can get, if not all of the things that we'd like, some of the more important ones. We definitely will be able to land some of that, and everything else is either already in testing or about done. So that should be a nice release. So yeah, hopefully we'll get this landed before then. And then sort by recently updated. Yeah, there's actually the font size. What else has been? Is there one? Oh, I don't want open. I want, is there anything closed? Yeah, just give me all the issues. See which ones are closed recently. Rusty just landed. I have not played with this yet, actually. I'm curious if anybody in chat has seen this. This is one of the older ones for high level IL, which is, so we still have an open bug for dead code elimination that's a little overly optimistic about what it can remove. But this was a case where there was some code that was missed that could have been removed, and like there's some bare calculations that are not actually assigned anywhere. And so I'm curious if anybody has run into those. But I saw that just got landed yesterday, which is a pretty, sounds like if you were running into it, that'd be a nice nice improvement. There's the undo one. That was not an actual bug, if I recall. Yeah, so I think we haven't closed too many bugs this last week. Updated a lot of the older issues. And just so people are familiar with our workflow, like we every Wednesday go through all the list of old issues. And so notice all the recent ones have tags for like difficulty level and like how much it impacts things. And we're going through like old pages. So you notice that you know, on page 5 or 6, you don't see those tags. And so you'll start seeing, as we kind of catch up, we do a page or two at a time during our weekly kind of all hands meeting. So you'll see some of these old ones updated. Some of these will be closed as we realize, yeah, that's not a feature we're actually going to do, or we'll have, or hey, we actually solved that and forgot to close the issue. So we're going to do that every Wednesday. All right. With that, let's switch back. Ooh, did I get your screen just in time? I was hoping to catch you.
It's not restarting. That's trouble.
So Hackovert has a question, which is that MLIL has vars read and vars written, but HLIL doesn't. Is there a technical reason for this, or is it just not yet implemented? I don't know for certain. I think that's just not yet implemented. I'm trying to think. I don't know, Kyle, if you have any other thoughts on that. Yeah, no, I got what you're saying. Yeah, no, I know exactly what you mean. In fact, I use the vars read and vars written because it's a nicer feature instead of having to parse the expression tree. So yeah, it's definitely a useful capability. My guess is it just wasn't implemented, but I'd have to go back and look in the core and figure out why that is. It's a good question. Yeah. If any of the other vectorites, is that what we call ourselves? Do we get to call ourselves that?
Ninjas.
Oh, there we go. Or binjas. And I think it's a little too cheesy. I've been half debating starting the stream with welcome binjas, but I don't know. It feels a little too much like I'm a lifestyle YouTuber or something. I don't know.
So then, can we register ourselves as a church?
Ooh, I mean, only if we're like also going to like sell like skincare products or something. Maybe I think like we can really go all into the
Right.
to the thing.
So this is working, and we have a baseline here. of how long analysis takes before debug info.
Okay, right. So for this, and this is with your default kind of analysis settings, right?
Yeah, I have a couple custom ones, but nothing that should affect the timing.
Okay. And uh, so the symbols, this one well, but there were two though, right? There was the initial load, and then you ran the plugin.
Yeah, so I'm running the plugin just to see how long that takes.
Okay, sorry. The plugin's still currently running. I got you. Yeah, I see it down there in the status.
And it attempted to add one function, but this is just the address. This is just from the template.
This is true, Brindley. We do have a merch store, so we really can't claim any moral high ground, I think, on normal YouTubers. And just wait till I get custom like OBS like animations of a little Benji character walking out on stream when people sub and subscribe, and I can shout him out. It's gonna happen. I'm totally gonna do it in my copious spare time.
While we wait for that to finish, would you like to begin the
Yeah,
parsing?
yeah. Let's
See
let's let's
how
let's do this.
Pygor works?
Yeah. Um, so Pygor itself is written in Go, which is nice because the Go runtime actually has libraries for parsing a lot of the structures that the debug information is in, and it's very fast. So it's pretty. In fact, the Pygor library itself is just a very thin wrapper directly over the Go API is exposed through like a C calling convention. I mean, Josh, I'd wear your shirt. That's clearly your problem. I mean, as long as it's nice, you got to have like the tri-poly blend there. If you had that, I'd have put your face on my chest. Does that sound weird? I mean, I don't know. Like, I'd have worn your shirt. I think you'd gotten several of the binges wearing your shirts. Um, see, yeah, Josh is not weird. Uh, right. And that's the biggest downside of this is you're gonna get two analyses. You have to save the database. It's just a little awkward. So the new way though is it's gonna be much better. So the only downside is we need to feed in Pygor the file on disk. It only takes a string. There's no way to like just give it a buffer, so we can't just give it the in-memory binary view that we've already got, or the raw view rather, and just shove bytes in. So in Binary Ninja, there's bv.file.original file name and bv.file.file name, and if it's a BNDB, those will be different, right? If I open the file directly, they will be the same. So one way to do this is to just do import os and then if os.path.isFile bv.file.original file name. All right, so if you just check if that's a file, you're good. Just pass that in. My little prototype stubbed this out as a to-do. If you want, we could fill this on stream. This is kind of more of like just a nice to have feature. If that file name doesn't exist, which you can actually do, is you can pull the file out of the BNDB, save it to a temp folder, and then feed that into Pygor. But for this little prototype, I don't think it makes sense. Yeah, Josh, if Biggie can be on t-shirts, you can too. That's a life goal there, I think.
Are we ever gonna get Benji on shirts?
Oh, it's so good. That is fantastic. Note to self. Peter's like, if he's watching the stream, is like, there he goes again. I mean, I've been wanting for a while to do like Benji plushies or like pillows or something, but I think a Benji shirt's a good idea. We should do a like a contest to have people submit like poses. Like they just have to come up with like the quote and like the posing of Benji, and we'll get the art done and we'll get like the graphics done, and we'll do a run of t-shirts with Benji on it. That is a fantastic idea. Oh no, I've looked for Benji Halloween costumes. That's happened, Josh. I have 100% looked for like ninja costumes that we could like turn into Benji ones. Perfect. Right. So we're gonna get a Pygor instance. And now the way that Go is gonna do things, they they have everything's organized into packages. There's internal packages. There's vendor packages. So it's a little bit weird. I implemented this using the chain API from itertools to basically just take separate iterators and kind of concatenate them all into one giant list, so I could iterate over all of the packages. You could do that way, or you could, however you want to implement it. But basically, this PyG object you've got now has get packages.
Okay.
It has get vendor pack get std underscore lib underscore packages. You might just want to copy and paste this one out of my line because it's like,
I see what you're saying now.
you see what I mean. So like the idea is that there's separate iterators. There might even be I don't know if there's maybe a better way of doing this. Yes, I would very much like a binge a plushie. One of these days I'll get around to it.
I think you'd need to just make a generator of that or use chain.
So the other option, and this is something else that I was thinking of, is if I do end up rewriting this with redress, I might just submit a PR to the original redress code or fork it and add like a node that just dumps out all the info I care from all the products in like CSV or something simple that I can pull into Binja. So it might change this API that way. So Fox, to clarify, we as a whole did not make Pwn Adventure. It is like 90% Rusty. So Rusty, who's the main Binary Ninja, our chief, what do you call him, chief architect? I don't know. I mean, we all have like, we don't go in for titles very much, but like the main architect behind Binary Ninja is also the main architect behind Pwn Adventure. And depending on which Pwn Adventure game it is, other people have chipped in more or less, but it's even the ones that other people chipped in more, Rusty is still probably over 50% of the dev. The most other people contributed was the NES one. That's one where Peter and I did a fair amount. But all the other ones are just Rusty. Yeah, those are a fun legacy. Oh, see, I like your style so much better than mine. That's so much cleaner.
Is this right?
It is just dot functions, package dot functions.
Oh, okay.
Yep. It's just a list right off of it now. Yeah. Which is a little weird. Like, okay, one's a method, one's a list, or property, but all right.
You think they've had a convenience function for all these, but
yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean, it is open source, so maybe they'll accept the PR, make it more Pythonic. Yeah, and so here's another thing where like on this version of the plugin, not really going to do anything to differentiate between these, but you could certainly make a reasonable choice. Oh yeah, Zyrus or Xeris, I'm not sure how to pronounce it, but yes, VR and VR has absolutely been a thing we've talked about. One of these days, VR Pwn Adventure. So the joke, Fox, was that we made Pwn Adventure and we thought it was too easy. We wanted it to be like kind of representative. And then what was the game that came out? The one about the like an outbreak of infection and you were like in New York. I forget which game it was at the time. It was one that like was just notoriously bad anti-cheat. Like everything that like we thought surely no one would be this bad, like pure teleport hacks and all sorts of other stuff were 100% doable in that game. So we had to like revise our estimate of what we should expect from regular game companies, but we sort of good.
We have our final benchmark for the analysis with the plugin.
Yeah, there you go. So you can see why I turned on basic analysis as my default global setting for that. No, it wasn't Pogo. Pogo actually had decent anti-cheat though, right? Like I like the Pogo method of doing things, which is let people do stuff, but then after the fact ban them, do ban waves once you've caught things that they didn't properly model about the protocol and stuff. They had like the famous was it like any 4 bytes or whatever, where people are like, look, there's 4 bytes in the protocol, it doesn't matter what you put here. And it's like, no, that was actually a validation checksum. They just didn't hard block you. They put you on a blacklist, and then like several months later they killed everybody. So I thought that was honestly pretty clever. We did actually make there is a it's not strictly Pwn Adventure, but there is a Super Monster Ball game on our GitHub as well that is very much like Pokemon Go, but it's like a Curses text-based game. It was one of the years at Seesaw that we did not do Pwn Adventure. We did that instead. All right. Well, so wait, that 41 seconds after initial analysis, that was full analysis was complete? Because that doesn't.
Yeah, yeah.
Why would updating? You sure you don't like have linear sweep off or something? Something feels off. No, it's on.
Oh, what's the tag you can search for?
At user. Anything you've overridden?
Oof.
I mean,
Thread.
that's
That's
yeah.
a determinism thing. That's a def thing.
Yes. Yeah, we do that a lot internally for in fact, actually, I think we owe a public discussion on the GitHub discussions about why in what ways Binary Ninja is not deterministic. Because it's not, and it's because we have multi-threading, and because you can make functions in different orders, and because computers are less deterministic than we would like in a lot of ways. So I think there's going to be a discussion at some point. We'll put more info on that. But yeah, so the way around it is just make it a lot slower. Do single threaded, then you have way less non-deterministic. You still have some, right? Because you still have kernel preemption and stuff, but it's not nearly as bad.
All right. I was just gonna run what we have here and have it print.
That's a great idea. Yep. And you're not doing anything to the debug info object, so nothing will change, but we'll at least make sure our isValid's triggering and that we're getting Pygor on the file. Yeah, so Fox mentions that they at first was like RE is boring. I will say RE is tedious, even when it's not boring, it's still tedious a lot unless it's a really basic thing. But they got into game hacking, and also it's like, ooh, I made a thing happen, or like this thing is. There we go. That looks good.
So what I notice here is these are all just plain names, and when we do the auto rename functions, it has this whole go.runtime.
Yep. Yeah, and that comes from, so Go is just hard coded. The second one is the package name, and then the third one is the actual method name. So we can
Are
get
there nested packages?
there are not. There are just some, I think, either packages or methods with dots in their names.
Mm.
So you'll get that for free if you still treat them as separate elements. So we can actually just pull, like, concatenate that together in our plugin. That's how we can kind of get that back out. Again, I'm not actually a Go developer, so I'm curious if somebody else knows more about what the proper convention would be here. I need to look this up. But we can literally just take go dot, yep, and then package dot name and func dot name. Well, dot func dot name. With the minor caveat that sometimes the package name is empty, and so if we do this now, we'll get, like, sometimes it'll be none. Or you could do p.name or a string and just do, like, empty. That would be cleaner than making it more complicated.
You can do that.
I think so. Try it. Can you?
What would it be, anonymous or?
Put it in quotes, but yeah. Let's see.
I should probably print that.
Oh, that might help. I'm curious if chat has any questions either to just general binge of stuff. Always happy to while we're all hanging out, cover anything else. Did you? No. Oh.
No. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, it doesn't work. Oh man. I mean, just do it in a separate line beforehand then.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Oops.
the other thing that I'm really interested in actually is getting out type information, um, because it's in there, and I want to know how much work it is to match up Go's type system with the Vidya type system. Because I think that'll be so. That's the one. It's like I said. Right now, we're basically just reproducing the functionality that already exists in these other plugins. We're just doing it with these new APIs so that it's a much better workflow.
Those are wonderful function names.
So that would be degobfuscate. So right, or gobfuscate. So that's the plugin that intentionally, the service failure action slash go dot. How is that possible? Oh, the slash is the name. That's right. Short name versus. Yep. Yeah,
Yeah.
that makes sense. But yeah, so like the ones with just like all repeated letters that look like it has bad entropy, because like you see those like why are they like I don't know. I feel like maybe it's just random lowercase, but sometimes when I'm looking through them, I feel like they have like way more duplicate letters. But those are the compiler obfuscator,
Hmm.
and so actually we could run deg obfuscate afterwards, and see if we can emulate them and turn them into IL.
Hmm.
So why? Well, the binge generated ones will never be useful in this case because the Go compiler doesn't have um, elf debug symbols compiled in. So it's always there just aren't any. So it's just always sub underscore, and I don't think that's ever the case.
I saw a way where you could put dwarf symbols into a Go binary, but it's not kosher.
Well, but even still, even if you're putting dwarf, then you'd want this to kind of work with the dwarf plugin. You wouldn't.
Right.
But I guess yeah. So I guess it's a fair question though, right? Like the workflow remains. So what we could do is we could check and see if a name exists in the function first before we actually overwrite. Well, we haven't actually overwritten anything yet. So at this point, we're not in danger of a problem. But let's go ahead and um, carry on. And actually now you've already got our commented API that we're going to use. This is like all this is the setup for this API here.
Yeah, so we're just gonna take this. It's indented 1, 2 view. There we go. We got our short name. Got our full name. And does Go have what we consider raw names?
So I don't know how they handle it. Again, I haven't written any Go, so I don't know enough to know whether like in source it's just the short name, but then the module package name is used for like global. I don't know. I did it that way because I think from an RE perspective it's nice if you use the full name and then the short name. Um. Oh, sorry, raw name. You're talking about for like
Like a mingled name.
demangling. Yeah. No, I have no idea.
All right.
I don't think so.
And how do we get the address?
Dot offset on the func, I believe.
All right.
And now you're passing in none and what? Yeah, what are those last two?
So that's no return type, since we're not parsing that yet, and no arguments since we're not parsing those either. But arguments would be a name and then a
The end type.
yeah.
Okay.
So we'll restart here. And then yeah, that's good.
So Zyrus, the way that I would handle this is, I mean, it kind of depends on how you want to do it. But what we could do is, um, we could choose to not over. Actually, that's a good question. With your debug API, can you create a function without passing in a function name? Right now, Kyle?
Can- Um,
Like if you pass in none for the names.
I mean that's no, the CAPI doesn't really have any accounting for that right now.
So it would be nice. Yeah, I would. Let's make a note to do that because there may be, conceivably formats where functions exist but you don't know their name. and you don't want to create a name.
Mhm.
And then the other advantage of that would be to the question in chat about like what if there's some other source of names that you would conflict with and you don't want to overwrite. You want to let those names be there. So, because what you also can do is you can manually in this debug info, you can create a debug symbol on the binary view, as opposed to using this one API, which both creates the function and sets all the types and creates the symbol for the name. So you could separate those and you could add some logic in to like, only create the symbol if one doesn't already exist and it has these properties, like mine's longer or shorter or whatever criteria you want to decide when your Pygor debug symbol should or shouldn't override. Oh, hey, we're done. Well,
Enough.
analysis is not. It's still going. Unfortunately, we have that single-threaded. Hey, it's like Binary Ninja Personal. This is a true-to-life demo for all of our Binary Ninja Personal customers because
I'm
yeah,
showing you as the student perspective here.
exactly. This is a real-world student analysis. And I will point out this is like an 8.4 megabyte binary with full of code, so like it's a decent sized binary. So I'm actually pretty happy that it takes single threaded. It only takes less than 10 minutes is not bad.
I think we're already past our 40-second mark, though.
Well, but again, that's okay, right? Because we're so again, that 40-second. I don't. Something was weird about that. There's no way it actually did the full analysis in 40 seconds on the same binary and then took 8 minutes just because we added names. That doesn't compute. It was either missing functions or I don't know. Something was. I'm skeptical about that. So I mean this is the plugin. Now the nice thing is close this. Well, I don't know if I'm gonna start recount over again. But if you close this one down, it'll just close, right? Because we haven't made any user changes, and so that's another distinguishing characteristic. There's nothing for Binary Ninja to save. It'll just close, and you can reopen it, and it will apply all the symbols right out of the gate again. Oh, important note. When we ship this, I don't know if this will change or not when we actually ship this to dev, but show them the setting that you had to set. This is not on by default. You have to actually go and enable this, which actually makes it nice for testing because you can turn it on and off when you want to compare analysis times.
So debug info right now is an experimental analysis setting that's off by default.
So your plugin will still load; it just won't do anything. It'll never be called.
Right.
If once we land this, if that settings, we'll see if we change that because we are going to want it eventually for dwarf kind of out of the box to be enabled, but we might let it bake a little bit.
Parsing and applying might be split in two as well. You might be able to let debug info plugins parse the debug info so it can be presented to the user through the API.
Yeah.
But we might not use it yet.
Actually, one nice thing that might be, excuse me, seizing. Told you I was up late, got like blinky eyes now. Another nice thing that we might want to do is actually UI for the debug info, having like a debug info explorer, right? So just something that you could use to analyze the debug information in the binary and browse it and view it. It's similar to actually how you already have with the dwarf information, right? Like you had the plugin you showed off before that lets you explore the tree of all the dwarf info because there's all sorts of stuff in there.
I've also been thinking about a lot of debug info tends to have this module information, so it might be nice to make a collapsible view for that.
Well, that aligns real nicely with Tim's sidekick stuff, right? That we did demo publicly on the 2.0 launch stream on Josh's stream.
So having that view and like refactoring the symbols view to have that in it would be very nice.
Yeah, I do have a little bit of concern. Like I feel like Guider, for example, goes super heavy on the tree view, and it's more cumbersome than I'd like. But I definitely think there's a time and a place for it, and clustering and componentization and that kind of stuff, being able to collapse is definitely really valuable. Um,
So one of the things I've noticed here is 2,958 functions from debug info. If I open the it again without debug info and do the auto rename functions, the plugin is finding twice that.
check len of bv.functions. Interesting. Well, that is one reason the analysis times were different.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, go back to our plugin. Hold on. There's one. Okay, hold on. So we're going under packages. Yeah, no, this is the issue. You also want p.methods. So where it says p.functions, do a chain and do package.methods as well.
Oh,
I don't understand exactly the difference. I did notice this as well, that the Pygor exposes some things are functions and some things are methods. So I'm going to have to go learn some basic Go to have a better explanation of why that is. But it will otherwise behave exactly the same. You can treat it the same properties.
I'll kill this again. So I just closed the one that was the debug info, no prompt. But when I go to close this one,
Yeah.
since it's a plugin.
Yep, that's the difference between those auto and the user. I just want to make sure it's a little thing, but I like that. Yeah, so I think this should pick up our remaining. Although I didn't, the interesting thing was I didn't notice on the function list, I didn't see any obviously missing things. So I'm curious then if, oh, we turn off linear sweep, don't we? So our search was not finding those. So actually, we would have.
No, it picked up just with adding the methods.
Yeah.
How much was it before?
4,000 something.
Should we look at the streams behind enough?
Nah, it was 4,000 something.
From the other plugin.
From our plugin, if we didn't have, oh, even with the other plugins, it was similar. It was 8.5 something. You gotta use the command palette. Hit your Control P.
You're right.
It's a good habit.
Yeah, 8543 versus 8588. So Pygor is finding just a couple more functions.
Well, and there's, again, I don't fully understand the difference between it because there's some that are listed as standard packages versus vendor package versus unknown packages. So I don't know what that means. Need to learn some more Go. Oh, there's one that go.type ... equal. That's interesting. So I mean, it does look like though that the / and the dots are part of the names. So we only provide 3 of those periods, right? So the other 2 and those long lines are clearly coming from one of the names, the method name, or the. Actually, you can check the full name on one of those functions. Just double click one of those functions. Did the order change? I thought if you were in this view, the function bar up top would only show the short name. Or did my script have it?
Sorry, this is this is our plugin. This is the other plugin.
Okay, yeah, go back to ours. Yeah, there we go. So this is where like, okay, so the package name has paths, which makes sense. Like it literally, I think is the file structure, and that's the package in the name. Yeah, see, I think our output is a little bit cleaner as a result of this structure. So it is kind of nice the way that Pygor exposes them like that instead of. We might just be able to modify the other plugin and have the same behavior too.
We don't have the.
Do type space EQ.
Okay.
Nope. Huh.
How does that match?
I don't know. There may be. Let's see, hold on. Pop in your console and import Pygor. And let's just double check the methods. I think there's just the 4: get packages, lib packages, vendor packages, and unknown packages. And then, yeah, copy your PYG. Literally that exact thing will just work. So now dir PyG. Unknown, vendor, standard lib, and packages. Yeah, I think that's all that Pygor exposes. Oh, so we're not getting types out. So, but that shouldn't be giving us functions. So get types. I don't know. Let's try it. See what we get. Do we get packages back?
We get type objects. What is a type like?
Yeah, so let's try this. Let's go ahead and actually implement the, see if we can pull out a couple of types that we can match on and add. That might be kind of interesting.
And
I would, well, yeah, that's fine. Close just tab and leave the console up. So
just leave this open. You
interact with one of the Python console. Grab one of those type objects and let's look at what API returns on it. Yeah, like I think you still had it. You didn't have to redo it, but that's fine. And now a equals underscore or something, or a equals underscore deref 0, or just pick one of them out. Sure. All right, now do that.
Batter, chainer, element, field anon, field name, field tab, fields, funkargs.
Ooh, there we go.
Length methods, name, norm, inorm.
So,
package. Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so I think that type EQ, actually
Yeah, so we see a lot of this stuff already here.
Yeah, but that's because it's either a method or a function. We could open up the other binary again, rerun the other plugin, and find that type EQ one, get the offset, and see what it currently is in Binja too. Like, is it a function there, or is it a... Well, you never turn on variable. Oh, so yeah, I mean, this other plugin could also just be making functions everywhere. Like, it may be that some of them are actually just type records. Yeah, let's see what that... Switch over to, like, assembly view. Let's see what that looks like. Is this code? That looks like code.
Yeah, and it's in with other code.
I would believe that's real code. And so now copy that address, Control Shift A, and then go to your other tab. That's a nice default binding, and then G paste and go there. Oh, interesting. Oh, by the way, yeah, so here's where like the short name shows up top, but yeah, we can get the full name.
Oh, we call it anonymous. Or, I mean, it didn't have a name from Pygor.
Try to search for just x86 in the sidebar. I wonder if we're getting a lot of those.
Well, that was the x86, and then there's the ARM64, which we were seeing here.
Oh, right.
Do they have different?
I mean, I'm not sure. They're all x86 implementations, but are they equality operators for the other? Yeah, I'm not sure that one's super important to the. It's clearly part of the runtime. Like I don't. But yeah, so I do think as a sort of future thing, there's a couple things that we want to do with this, like extracting out this type information and then applying them to the function symbols would be a really nice improvement over the current plugins and hopefully doable. We can play with that a little bit more. We need to double check the licensing and see if we need to be calling out to redress or if we can use Pygor directly. And
it's really nice to include this as the main example for the Python side.
That's true, because you already have the Rust one for our dwarf for the Rust side.
Although it's nice to also have the templates in there.
Yeah. Cool. Although we do have to be a little careful because if we release, well, no, that's fine because we can release it as Apache or MIT, and it's still AGPL compatible. Potentially, I mean, if we do redress, so we wouldn't have to have like I generally try to avoid like sub modules or sub packages, sub files in a repo with a different license than the main repo if we can help it, just because it's always a fun surprise. So cool. All right. Well, I think that about wraps up the stream. If there's any questions from folks or things they wanted to cover. And again, we're always interested in ideas. Here, I'm going to switch back to our faces and they can see our cheery. Oh, wait. You got to stop screen sharing. They'll see my face over half of your screen until you come back. That's all right. But yeah, thanks everybody for hanging out. Hope you guys enjoyed that. I think this is a cool API. Oh, it's still single view. No. Yeah, you dodging my. There we go. Oh, there we go. I know somebody who was watching the stream because I think I'm gonna get a visitor in my background.
Excuse the motorcycle.
There
we go.
There you go. I actually couldn't hear the motorcycle. Your mic's pretty good.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. That's not bad at all. But yeah, thanks everybody for hanging out with us. If you got any questions, hop in. If you would like more or less of this, if you want us to go back to like just using Binary Ninja to solve some challenges or whatever, let us know. I will probably be taking a couple weeks off for the next sometime over the next couple months. Got some family trips and stuff planned. But I think that's cool. Good. Yeah. Really glad you guys enjoyed it. Oh, I could show my one other little. Should I do it, Kyle? Can I show my other little thing?
Yeah, go for it. I'm seeing Piston Miner was talking about adder to line. I would like to get source line information into the debug info as well. And I don't know how it'll look in Binja, but maybe hover over a line and just have the source code line there. Would be nice.
Yeah, I mean, you could comment it. There is actually, so in terms of the Go or RE side, there is actually the ability to get line numbers-ish. You don't have the source, but you have line numbers. So you can actually organize your binary based on like original package order, original source code order, if that's useful. But yeah, Fox seconded the notion on that. So here's my completely ridiculous, unnecessary optical illusion but I have a little cube. Oh look, it's a little baby Rubik's cube, and then I have like another Rubik's cube, but these are actually both baby cubes because there's this one, and then actually this is a baby cube too because they're actually this one. I don't know if that optical illusion actually looked all that neat, but all right.
Well, your house is also a Rubik's cube, and then the world is a Rubik's cube.
Yeah, oh yeah, zoom out. It's Rubik's cubes all the way down. So, oh, that's an interesting idea. Yeah, splitting instructions by line number tells you what was one statement. It would also be interesting if you've got dwarf, to like not even remotely close to near term thing, but like could you change high level IL's display to like split expressions or combine expressions based on matching from dwarf?
Yeah, I was thinking about that. It's an interesting decompilation theory.
Yeah.
Thing.
I don't know. Like, to some degree, I don't want to go too deep down that because, like, if you already have dwarf and you can just extract sort of essentially full source out of it, what value does the decompiler provide at all? And trying to like match them up, like, is that the right use of our time? Maybe. I don't know. It's interesting. It's something we've been thinking a lot about. Maybe later we'll show your other demo with your high level IL compiler. It's another fun little trick, but
oh yeah.
Are we, when you Piston Miner, when you say are we working on the way that high level IL, are we working on making high level IL more flexible, or are we working on like which or were you talking about the reference I made to the high-level IO compiler? So the high-level IO compiler is not a real compiler. It's more like a parser and AST generator that Kyle used to match up some source code to binary and apply things like comments. Control flow restructuring is not on the current list of to-dos, I don't think. Correct me if you remember differently, Kyle, but I don't think we had that slated for 3.0 either. So the next stable, which like I said is going out in about 2 weeks, right? 3 weeks, out of 3 weeks, yeah, a little under 3, is the search is the next major feature landing besides all the other stuff that's landed. Then after that, 3.0, I think the main feature is like a UI refactor. Is the main kind of plans. So I don't think control flow structuring is coming near term, but it's still something we want to do. I think it'll be useful, but yeah. Cool. All right, well, thanks everybody for hanging out with us. It was good to see everybody. Thanks for all the questions, and as always, if you've got more feedback, hop on Slack. And no, it's not gonna be Electron. We've thought about it. We've threatened it several times, but I mean, we'll see if QT keeps doing weird shenanigans with their stuff, like forcing you on new versions that don't have support for all the modules. Then
3.0 is just cloud. Yeah.
It's just all cloud. We'll see. Actually, 3.0 will coincide with Enterprise coming out. So if you're interested in the collaboration server, that will come out to Enterprise customers, but then we'll also at some point around that same time try to have like a public collaboration server where you can play CTS with friends and stuff by connecting to it to sync things. And so that's another that's another goal. Cool.
Nearly had binges 3.0.
Neheben. Do you need to get the nearly headless Binja? This guy's not nearly. He is headless Binja. Cool. All right, everybody. Well, it's good to see folks. We'll catch you next week, and thanks for hanging out. See ya.
Bye.